China announced on August 1 that it would implement export controls on the related items of gallium and germanium, stating that the purpose is to safeguard national security and interests. The global semiconductor industry plays a crucial role in advancing modern technology in various sectors. As one of the main participants in this industry, China's recent export restrictions on semiconductor metals such as gallium and germanium have triggered significant changes in the global supply chain. These restrictions have prompted countries around the world to diversify their supply chains and reduce dependence on China. These two metals are key raw materials for semiconductor manufacturing, and China's move is widely seen as the latest retaliatory measure in the US-China chip war. Both the US and China aim to dominate in military core technologies. The announcement comes just before US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen's visit to China. The Trump administration and the Biden administration have taken a series of measures to restrict high-tech exports to China, particularly last October when the Biden administration implemented more comprehensive restrictions, prohibiting the export of high-end chips manufactured using US equipment and technology to China. These measures have dealt a heavy blow to China's high-end semiconductor industry. China currently lacks an advantage in designing and manufacturing high-end semiconductors. Some analysts have pointed out that China is using its dominant position in the rare metals market to counter Western export controls. The Biden administration has taken highly targeted actions to cut off the supply of high-end semiconductor chips, and Beijing has no other choice but to counter, said scholar Adil Brar. There is no doubt that Beijing is taking action in the technology war with Washington by implementing export controls, he said. This is a purely tit-for-tat way of technological competition. Wei Jianguo, vice chairman of China Center for International Economic Exchanges and former vice minister of commerce, recently stated in an interview with China Daily, an official English newspaper, "This is just the beginning of China's countermeasures, and there are many more types and means of sanctions China can use. If restrictions on high-tech exports to China continue to escalate, China's countermeasures will also escalate." A spokesperson for the U.S. Department of Commerce stated on Wednesday that the U.S. firmly opposes China's export controls on gallium and germanium materials, and Washington will consult with partners and allies to address this issue. These actions highlight the need for supply chain diversification. The United States will work with our allies and partners to address this issue and build resilience in critical supply chains, the spokesperson quoted by Reuters said. The European Commission has also expressed concerns. Its spokesperson stated on Tuesday afternoon that gallium and germanium are vital to our industry, particularly in strategic uses, and we depend on a single supplier to some extent. The spokesperson openly questioned China's defense of its actions on the grounds of national security and urged China to align its trade policies with the World Trade Organization based on clear security considerations. Gallium and germanium are both silver-white metals that are generally not naturally occurring. They are byproducts of processing commodities such as zinc, coal, and alumina, and can be recycled for use. These two metals have a wide range of applications in the manufacturing of semiconductors, communication devices, and solar panels. In the field of semiconductors, combining gallium and germanium with other elements can improve transmission speed and efficiency. For example, gallium compound gallium nitride is used by the U.S. military in radar manufacturing. Another compound, gallium arsenide, is more resistant to high temperatures and humidity compared to commonly used semiconductor material silicon, and it has better conductivity, making it widely used in high-performance chips. According to market research firm Precedence Research, the sales revenue of chips using gallium nitride reached $2.47 billion last year, and it is projected to climb to $19.3 billion by 2030. Additionally, according to research firm Research and Markets, it is estimated that chip production using gallium arsenide will increase from $1.4 billion in the previous year to $3.4 billion by 2030. China is the largest producer of gallium and germanium, giving it a strong dominant position in the global supply chain. According to data from the Critical Raw Materials Alliance, CRMA, of the European Association of Industrial Metals, China accounts for approximately 80% of the global production of gallium and 60% of germanium. According to the U.S. Geological Survey, between 2018 and 2021, 53% of gallium imported by the U.S. came from China, followed by Germany, Japan, Ukraine, and others. After the U.S. imposed higher tariffs on Chinese gallium, the import volume significantly declined in 2019. According to the Tendata Customs Data System, in 2022, the largest importers of gallium products from China were Japan, Germany, and the Netherlands. The main importers of germanium products were Japan, France, Germany, and the United States. While gallium and germanium are not particularly rare metals, the processing cost is high. Due to China's long-standing practice of exporting at relatively low prices, there are almost no mining facilities elsewhere. According to metal industry intelligence provider CRU Group, other countries that produce gallium include Japan, South Korea, Russia, and Ukraine. Germanium is also produced in Canada, Belgium, the United States, and Russia. It is noted that countries like the United States have significant germanium deposits, but strict controls on mining due to environmental impact make immediate replacement of China difficult. Overall analysis suggests that China's export ban on gallium and germanium will have a certain level of impact in the short term, but the long-term effects remain to be observed. Indian scholar Bharat Karnad in Taiwan stated, in the short term, the cost of semiconductor chips may increase as suppliers need to source these two materials from other sources. China's production of these two materials has already peaked. He also mentioned, the United States and other countries have been seeking to replace China's share in the global mineral trade. If an agreement cannot be reached to lift some of the semiconductor sanctions against China, Beijing's export controls may accelerate this process. According to multiple foreign media reports, the United States is considering expanding export controls on China's chip industry. The specific measures are currently unclear. Bharat Karnad believes that it is unlikely for the U.S. to lift the sanctions quickly as it is approaching the presidential election phase. However, as alternative supplies for gallium and germanium are established, the prices of semiconductors will eventually decrease. Paul Triolo, a senior researcher at the Washington-based think tank Eurasia Group, stated to Hong Kong media, if China chooses to weaponize these supply chains, it will greatly complicate considerations for the US, EU, and Asia in reducing dependence on China. He further stated, even just rebuilding part of the critical mineral supply chain will require a considerable amount of time and investment. Ju Young-jun, the deputy minister of South Korea's Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy, stated to the media that the short-term impact of China's latest export control measures may be limited, but uncertainty remains. He said, it is still unclear how long China's export control will last, and the possibility of expanding the ban to other items cannot be ruled out. The South Korean government plans to further diversify the procurement routes for critical materials and develop alternative materials for industries that are highly dependent on imports from specific countries. The Japanese government also stated on Tuesday that it is evaluating the related impacts and pledged to take measures to diversify material procurement. Looking ahead, the future of semiconductor trade is likely to continue to be influenced by efforts to diversify supply chains. Countries will seek to strengthen domestic production capabilities, establish strategic partnerships, and explore new sources of semiconductor metals. Collaborative initiatives between industry participants, research institutions, and governments will play a crucial role in promoting innovation and creating a resilient and diversified supply chain ecosystem. China's restrictions on the export of semiconductor metals have become a catalyst for global supply chain diversification. Countries have realized the risks of heavy reliance on a single source and are actively seeking strategies to reduce dependence on China for production. Diversification of the supply chain not only reduces risks but also promotes innovation and competition, ensuring a more resilient and robust semiconductor industry. By embracing supply chain diversification, countries can respond to future challenges and seize opportunities in the dynamic landscape of semiconductor trade.